Welcome viewers, we are joined today in our third episode by Shadrack Tlhaole, Provincial Secretary of the Economic Freedom Fighters and also former Chairperson of the ANC Youth League in the Northern Cape Province. Can you please share with us who Mr. Shadrack Tlhaole is?
Okay, no, thank you very much. Shadrack Tlhaole is the Provincial Secretary of the Economic Freedom Fighters in the Northern Cape. My responsibility is exactly that of making sure that the day-to-day activities of the organization are honored, but also making sure that we do respond to the plight and interest of our people out there, mainly because we represent the poorer of the poorest, and we want to make sure that we change things to be much better in South Africa. So politically, that is Shadrack Tlhaole.
People were quite amazed during the last elections when you got 2% of the vote during your first stint, if I may use that word. What makes you confident that you will increase those numbers in the upcoming elections?
We are confident because of one thing. People in South Africa, people in the Northern Cape believe in the Economic Freedom Fighters. We have done exactly what the people wanted us to do by representing them in different platforms. That is not only in Parliament, also out there in society, in public. We're an organization that addresses concerns of the people. And yes, of course, people are still going to be shocked because of, as the EFF, we are confident enough that we did have 2 seats in the last 2014 local national election. But also, people must be very careful in undermining the EFF, because in 2016 we have shown growth, especially in the Northern Cape, where for the first time we contested elections, that is in local government. We did very good. We are currently sitting at 38 councillors throughout the province, and it's a number that one would look at and appreciate the EFF as an organization. Yes, in 2014 we did only got 2 seats, and that 2 seats, when you look at the numbers that we got there, it was because of the EFF was still a new organization. But confidently so now, we are sure that we are going to increase our numbers. We are not into this thing to become number 2. We want to be number 1, because of there's nothing stopping the EFF to be number 1.
And we've also observed that at most of the universities, you have made a lot of inroads with the youth. Is your strategy mainly based around the youth, or what is the key? And again, specifically in the Northern Cape, there's this view that your colored population would mostly vote for your DA, and we've seen Patricia Delel also coming to the province to contest for those same votes. Where would you say your strength lies in this province?
The Northern Cape as a province is a very diverse province. You'll be making a mistake if you want to focus on racial politics, because of that is what is killing currently the political party that is known to be a very big organization, especially when you would want to identify Coloureds and Botswana and Xhosa not as the people of the Northern Cape. To us as the EFF, all these people are our people. We belong to them. They voted us. We are what we are because of them. So we will not get entangled into politics of color. We love everyone who is a resident of the Northern Cape and for South Africa.
As far as land is concerned, there are quite a number of parcels through the redistribution program, restitution, and even ESTA, where people have gained access to the land. But we've not seen a lot of changes on that land, in that it translates to economic wealth. And I can cite a lot of examples. Your Rimfast Mark, which unfortunately was the first restitution case in the country. But if you go there, you still find poverty. The people are not enfranchised. How would you see at a practical level as assisting those communities to gain access to finances, whether it's through the land bank, which is a state-owned institution, or through your commercial banks? Because I think we are having a big problem with these poor communities having access to finances.
we don't want to agree with the government of the day that there's no money. There is money. The problem is a political will, commitment, led by laziness. We have people who does not really care about their work, their job that they are getting paid for every day. How do you take people that were forcefully removed from their place to another area, and when they are given that land back, it's another generation, the generation after generation. There's no plan that we're giving you the land, but the intention is that don't just get the land for you to come and stay here. Get the land so that the land should benefit you. Because of one, there are institutions that are having money. Let's say, for an example, in the Northern Cape, it was Renale or NEF. What is the contribution that the NEF is having to the people of the Northern Cape? It's zero. Because of the NEF speaks to development that are not really of economic benefit to the people of Northern Cape. They will focus mainly on your tuck shop, taxi, and tavern. Why should we be funded around these three things? Why can't, when we are giving the land through a program of redistribution of land, be told that no, this is a land, is good for farming, take people to go and train them in a particular field so that they understand and they have a know-how of how you plan your business through farming.
Our matric results, as you know, are not making us proud as people of this province. People are complaining that from being first, #1 in the country, we have now dropped to #7 as a province. If you were to be elected into power, what will you do differently as far as education is concerned?
First, we will be elected into power, into office. We are going to be part of this government. Like it or not, you can see it. We are going to be part of government. In fact, we are part of government because of we are in parliament, we are in legislature, we are in councils in a period of less than 5 years. So if we are given chance, the chance is that how do we increase our representation in government? So that is done. We are there. No question about it. What we want to say is that in terms of education, you don't focus at the end product. And that is a mistake that the ANC government is doing. The ANC should not only want to be active from June, when the matriculants are preparing for the mid-year exam. In September, October is writing of exams. You must start from the early child development. Because of the ECD is the base and the foundation of what, after 12 years, a mother, nation must celebrate that their kids, our kids, are completing their matric. But the problem is that we are doing vice versa. We are starting at the top instead of starting from the entrance level. So when you prepare a child from the age of 3 years, that's a proper investment that our government must do. And I'm saying at the age of 3 years because of you are training a child who is in a position to grasp very easily with issues, to understand, but also because of you have started early, you are in a position to identify the strength of that child, the skill, and make sure that you groom that child accordingly.
Your name, EFF, Economic Freedom Fighters. In your fight, we learned that there's still a lot of things that are not going okay. Much as we'd like to fight, what do you think are the obstacles to you achieving your objectives in the manifesto, especially as far as assisting your previously disadvantaged is concerned? We have learned, unfortunately, in the last few weeks or so, that institutions like the FNB are imposing greater interest rates on your previously disadvantaged than it does on our white folk in this country. I think it's a real challenge because the whole argument and debate about what you refer to as white monopoly capital seems to be a major stumbling block. Can you share with us, because you can have a very good policy on the one hand, but if those instruments are not in place to help you achieve those objectives, because we believe that government cannot do it alone. Even if you come in as a government, as a leading party, you may still have these challenges. Can you please share with us how you hope to turn that situation around?
Thank you. One thing that we must get right is to deal decisively away with racism in South Africa. I'm raising it racism because of that racism. It has been now institutionalized. You find institutions that have not fell into the trap, but they have adopted the racist stance of those who don't see black people as their equals. So the example that we can say is that, how do you buy a house working for the same company and you are charged higher interest rates because of you are white? You are charged less interest rates. So black people should suffer as a result of their color. So we are saying, as the economic freedom fighters, to start with, why do you buy a car of 1.8 million and pay it in 5 years? And you buy a house of 1.3 million, you pay it out in 20 years. That also is a stumbling block to developing, especially black people in South Africa, because we believe that blacks are marginalized in South Africa. We believe that for us to do that correctly, we need to deal decisively with racism. If we can attend to racism, what happened with the FNB, that they bought a book with the services that were rendered to black and white people, and only then we realized that they were not treated equally. It is because of those who are in charge of the economy of this country. They are not willing. Hence we speak about political will in South Africa. That's one. And in addressing that, we must establish a state-owned bank, because of a state-owned bank will not borrow you money because of you are white. The state bank will not borrow you money because of you are black. It will borrow you money because of you qualify. That's one. And in qualifying, we are saying 14% is too much. 14% is too much. Why can't we drop that to 6.57%? If possible, go a bit lower. That's what we are fighting for, because for a very long time, South Africans, especially black people, have been oppressed, and we need to deal away with that.
You were very vocal about the, let's call it, perceived nepotism, especially in the energy space. Patrice Motsepe's brother-in-law is Minister of Energy, his other brother-in-law is President of the country, and we've been following your arguments both in the media and fairly recently in Parliament. But we learned that you had a meeting as the EFF with Mr. Motsepe. Are you at a position to share with us how the meeting went and whether you could find some common ground with him? Because it helps that the EFF is vocal not just on what you refer to as white minority capital, yeah, but also on the black business people in our country. And Mr. Motsepe is considered a self-made billionaire in the country, someone that a lot of people look up to. So there is a lot of interest on how your meeting went and whether you could find each other through the discussions that you had.
To start with, we are not friends to Motsepe. Motsepe is not our friend. He's a black businessman that we respect, but it does not mean when we respect you because of you are doing good, you are a South African. Therefore, we must allow things just to unfold. We don't only have Motsepe in South Africa. We have many South Africans that need intervention of government. And my view is different from many, that Motsepe is a self-made. Motsepe has been assisted by government. Motsepe has been assisted by all those presidents that are coming in. Motsepe is the only president who goes overseas, international trips, with the presidents of South Africa. There's no president who has went overseas and not take Motsepe along. How do you call that a self-made? That is not self-made. It is not. I disagree. But at the same time, we are not jealous as the EFF. We appreciate the men, but what we're saying to the men is that the men must share. And currently, what the man is sharing, we don't think sharing should be him visiting towns and trying to help there and there. Sharing is when we are also given an opportunity. In the Northern Cape, we say, we've identified this young person, We are going to help him with everything so that he must own a mine. We have mines in the Northern Cape, we have land. So the intervention of Motsepe that now will sit and celebrate is when he says that I'm prepared to put $500 million here or $1 billion here to help these young people, this community, so that at least tomorrow they are on their own.
Okay, but there's this view that the bulk of his wealth comes from the private sector. He made it in the mining sector. And it's actually the first time that he has ventured into government-related programs through the energy. And I think he's also on record in saying that he is not targeting the statements that the president has been making in terms of transforming ESCOM. But if you say you haven't had that outcome yet, we are happy to leave it at that for now. But we will certainly be happy for you to come back to us as soon as you have feedback from the outcome of those meetings, because I think it will really assist us to understand these things better. We would like to move on to...
But he was just there. Our concern with Motsepe's family is that if we will allow this thing, one day we will be in trouble. You know, Motsepe must be a businessman, must play his role in business. And once you bring Motsepe's family closer to government, we will link that with corruption. We link that with nepotism. Because, and we are warning the man. We have warned him and said, it's enough, Ochile, please, just do it without government. But it's like no one is listening. Your independent power producer things, and all these things that are surrounding the Motsepe family, including the president of the country, including the Boswara and all of that, if I may put it like that, it should be an eye-opener. When we spoke against the Guptas, many people just dismissed the EFF. But today, people have realized that indeed, these boys and girls, as we are referred to, they have a point. And today, we have managed to save South Africa. The EFF has saved South Africa. South Africa today should pride itself and say that we are grooming future leaders here.
How will you decisively tackle this scourge of corruption? Let
me start by saying, before I answer the question here, the Motsepe versus the Guptas. The Guptas were too arrogant. The Guptas believe that they are in charge of everything, even our lives. So if someone is arrogant, you tackle him properly, you make sure that you don't miss. So we went for the Guptas and we did it very good. Now, there's this thing called Bosasa. And the ANC is taking that thing light. The ANC is taking that Bosasa thing very light. We know that there is a commission established that addresses all these things. But when you look at how those who are involved in Bosasa and how those who are involved in Guptas are dealt with, it's two different things. People come and testify, and those that are testifying, they get arrested for coming forth to give the information and say, this is what has been happening.
So they're not being protected.
They are not being protected. But those who are being exposed, I'm telling you now, they are even in the list back to Parliament. And the people of South Africa must still say, it's good. This ANC is so marvelous, it's doing wondrous good things. But you bring the corrupt people to Parliament. We have Nomvula Mukonyan, who has never went public and said that this is not true, who has never commented on this thing. She's just there as a happy person. Because of this thing, it's not affecting her. I'm Motonyeka next. She's happy. And the ANC is also happy about it. Why Vincent Smith could say, can I be excused because of I'm involved or my name is mentioned in this thing? And we have people who are in such a powerful position as a minister who is just a drama queen and appreciated by the ANC, and no one must say anything about it. It is because of the ANC's promoting corruption. And let me tell you, the EFF will be in charge here in the Northern Cape. And the first thing that we must do, must arrest someone. We must arrest Zamani Soul. Why do we arrest Zamani Soul? It's because of he's the principal who is overseeing all these people as the chair of the ANC, and they are not doing anything about corruption. They address rallies, speaks about corruption, they address rallies, speak about bad things that government is not doing or is doing, but there's no action. McJack was involved in a scandal of 28 million. It did not come through the EFF. It was the Premier of the Northern Cape who opened a case of fraud and corruption. What happens? That thing is just brushed away. This one is not important. And now you want us to believe you when you say that you are going to deal with corruption. Which corruption? Because of how things are happening, we just look at you and say you are also corrupt someone.
VBS and Floyd Shivambu, what's your view on that?
Why should I have a view there? Why should I have a view there? Because of VBS. Is VBS there? We don't have anywhere where we have signed any agreement with VBS. So why should we speak about VBS? People who are interested to speak about VBS must speak about VBS, and they must leave the EFF out. We have explained enough, and we think that that question, when it keeps on coming, people are just trying their luck. There's nothing linking VBS with the EFF. Nothing. Nothing. We are not involved in VBS, and we will never be involved in VBS. If we will be involved in any organizations that are funding and all of that, if we are involved, we will tell you, no, we are involved here, we will tell you, but we will never get into any trap knowing. Rather, people must go and plot to destroy the EFF. But openly, we are not going to do that. Even in a dark room, we are not going to connive with anyone who seeks to discredit the EFF at the, I don't know, at the expense of our organization. So, Solomon Star, we are telling you here today, VBS, let it be VBS there. We are not part of VBS. We will not be part of VBS. In fact, we are saying VBS should have been rescued. But because of you have these thunderheads who are not interested in the development of black people, VBS is closed, collapsed, because of there are people who are rented dogs that are just doing what the white people are telling them to do. But I'm telling you, after the 8th of May, we must consider the re-establishment or reopening of VBS. We must help VBS to become a bank it was. Maybe we must start there to start opening a state bank. VBS was doing very good. It was just looted by these criminals, and they got it right, and they left with it as in when they were leaving. Because of that was a product that could have been saved. APSA was helped many times. FNB here, they discredit and discriminate against our people. No one says anything. There's not even a statement from the ANC. Standard Bank is cutting jobs as we are speaking. No one is saying anything. The EFF is speaking against these things because of, we believe that our people will never suffer anything. We are a proper government in waiting.
Now, Brashero, allow me to once more take this opportunity to thank you for taking time out to be with us and speaking very frankly about issues that are close to your heart. And to the viewership of Solomon Star, we would like to urge you to keep following us as we continue to interact and engage with the leadership in the province. Thank you. Thank you for watching our 3rd episode of Speaking Plainly with Thabo Makweya. We do invite you to our next episode with Pigs Tikhetsi, the leader of COPE in the Northern Cape.